All right, we are back again. And now, for this topic, we are going to do Prises for Broadsword. And once again, if you haven't seen the quarterstaff Prises video in a while, go back and watch that right now, because the Broadsword Prises are almost identical to them. We're going to be looking at two Prises we're going to be looking at quasays and bind-throughs. So let's remind ourselves the definitions of these two. A prise de feu is any movement that takes control of your opponent's blade to open a line of attack and change the direction of the fight. Prise de feu is French for to seize the iron. And so we are literally taking control of our partner's blade, opening a line, and changing the direction of the attack. After I perform a prise de feu, it is now my turn to attack. A quasay changes the attack by moving our partner's blade from a high line to a low line, or sometimes from a low line to a high line, while keeping the blade on the same side of the body. And we are specifically going to be doing quasays down. So we are going to be moving from a high line to a low line. Quasay up in broadsword is pretty uncommon. A bind takes the blade from a high line to a low line, or a low line to a high line, and changes it to the other side of the body. And once again, you can do binds over, where you go from a low line to a high line and then onto the other side of the body. But that, again, is not as common in broadsword as bind-throughs, where we're going to take this blade from a high line to a low line and then through to the other side of the body. So let's start by looking at quasays. So a prise de feu always starts with a parry. So if I weight shift back and parry 3 right here, a quasay simply moves their blade from a high line to a low line. And if I parry 4, I go from a high line to a low line. As simple as that. Now, of course, I can do this with expulsion. So if I parry 3, my weight is shifted back. I can weight shift forward and give my partner's blade an impulse with my blade, and I'm going to expel it 15 degrees offline. There. Once again, I am not attacking their blade. I'm not doing that. I am not pointing my blade down. I am just going 15 degrees offline, and I end with my blade in a low line position. And then if I parry 4, here's a quasay with expulsion. Okay, now let's take a look at bind-throughs. Once again, I start with a parry. So if I parry 3, a bind-through begins as if I am going to be attacking my partner's low line. So I move my blade forward in a cutting motion as if I am going to slice right through their forward hip. My partner then notices that that is what I am doing, and they remove that target by passing back. At that point, my attack has been thwarted, but I still have control of their blade, and so I am going to choose to move the blade through their center line and over to the other side of their body, thus opening up a line of attack that I can use. Now, as I do this, it's very, very important that I not threaten my partner's knees. I need to make sure that I maintain my target along that low line, right at the base of the hips, base of the pockets, base of the glute muscles. And my partner needs to help with this. If my partner's attack is bound and they drop their sword all the way down here, well, they're going to be guiding my blade right into their knees, and that's a very dangerous thing. So as we are being bound, we want to make sure that we maintain our extension and keep our sword up so that we don't bring the sword down into our knees. Okay, so let's take a look at a bind through. I parry 3, start to cut, they pass back, and I bind through, again ending in a low line. Then I can parry 4, I start to cut, they pass back, and I bind through, ending in a low line. And even when I am expelling their blade, I am not going to move my blade all the way offline. I keep it here, threatening my partner. Okay? So here's the sequence that I would like you to perform. Normally in a fight, we would be attacking after a prise de feu. But we are just going to do the prise de feu. So we're going to parry, then do a prise de feu, then parry again, then do a prise de feu. So let's start right foot forward. And we are going to pass back and parry 3. Then we are going to quasay there. Then we are going to pass back, parry 4, and quasay. Then we are going to pass back, parry 3, and now we are going to bind through. And then, here's the tricky part, don't pass back, just parry 4, and then bind through. So we're taking 2 steps back, 2 steps forward. One more time. We start right foot forward, pass back, parry 3, quasay. Pass back, parry 4, quasay. Pass back, parry 3, bind through, and then weight shift back, parry 4, bind through. So I'm sorry, I guess we're taking 3 steps back and then 2 steps forward. Here, I'll show it to you from the side now. Here we are, right foot forward. I pass back, parry 3, quasay. Pass back, parry 4, quasay. Pass back, parry 3, bind through. Weight shift back, parry 4, bind through. All right, simple as that. Those are the 2 prise de fers that we're going to focus on for Broadsword. We'll have one more lesson this week, which will involve everybody's favorite hanging parries.